I love this book. So this is a review of We Need Your Art by Amie McNee. Stop messing around and make something. Going to read the synopsis first. From Amie McNee, the voice behind Inspired to Write, a manifesto on the vital human importance of creating, with guidance for all artists in all endeavors, whether they're starting their journey or seeking a fresh perspective. In We Need Your Art, Amie McNee calls on artists and aspiring artists of all kinds to do the work they're meant to do, create. Using her own experiences as a novelist and the inspiration she's shared as a creative coach, McNee guides you on why we need your art and how you can make it happen, starting with a 2-week reset plan to help you kickstart your creative habit. This isn't about writing your great novel in a month or painting a masterpiece in a flurry of inspiration. Rather, this process is about practicing small, sustainable, creative steps every day over time. 500 words of writing each day, a pencil sketch every evening so that you avoid burnout, produce consistent and reliable content on your own terms, and begin to see yourself as an artist. With frank and empowering conversations on the many issues creatives face, including imposter syndrome, perfectionism, procrastination, and the inner critic, as well as invitations to coordinate yourself and celebrate your ambition, McNee provides the framework and encouragement you need to begin to take your art seriously. Each chapter also includes journal prompts that help you apply what you have learned to your new life. We Need Your Art is a revolutionary reprogramming of everything we have been taught and told about being a creative, removing the shame and fear we may feel at dubbing ourselves artists and inviting us to create proudly with celebration. This book is a warm hug, a pep talk, the wise teacher you always wanted, the loving parent you needed, and the fire in your belly that you need to get roaring. And if I sound weird, it's because I'm recovering from sick. I think I have a cold or something. Or I worried myself into sickness. Different things. But that's not the point. Other than explaining potentially my voice. So, yeah. Like I said at the beginning, I loved this book. I have some notes. And I also follow her on like Substack and YouTube. I freaking love her like vibe, her presence. She's just so joyful, but also so real. She's on Substack. She's on YouTube now. Wanting to be a successful creative is not childlike or foolish. It is valid, responsible, and doable. And this book is very nice. Like, it's not harsh at all. It is time to let yourself take art seriously. It is time to realize it is not irresponsible or childlike or silly. It is what you are here to do. It is needed, it is responsible, it is generous, it is good. As you see, I have like a crap ton of annotations. You have the case for creativity, responsible, important, sensible, or art, responsible, important, and sensible. Art heals. You are the artist. Coordinate yourself. Small magic. The 2-week reset challenge, which I did, and I will mention when I get there. Blocks on procrastination, on perfectionism, on jealousy and comparison, on burnout. How to building an abundant practice, on voice, on self-censorship, because if a lot of people do that, if not everybody. On finishing, on failure, on success, on patience, on celebrating. So, yeah. There's a lot to this book. And like it said in the synopsis, it has questions to ask yourself after every, like journal prompts after every chapter. Like, the first one being, what were you taught about creativity in the arts as you were growing up? What are your inherited stories about artists and artistry? But that's just the first one. Creativity is the missing pillar of self-development. And it has these things here. It has those throughout the whole book. I have relied heavily on Your Brain on Art by Susan Magsamen and Ivy Ross. This world-changing book looks at the physiological impacts of consuming and making art and is backed up by an incredible collation of research. The author's conclusion is profound. Art changes communities, our biology, our brains, the world. I couldn't wait to bring Magsamen and Ross's work into this book because it grounds the magic of art and science. That inexplicable need to create is actually explicable. Your art is generous isn't a wishy-washy lovely sentence. It's science. They note that colors have the capacity to change our respiration, blood pressure, even body temperature. They discuss the FDA-approved music therapy that provides pain relief and increases circulation and mobility. They look at how we physiologically react to poetry and how it helps us to process emotion. A study by Gurija Kamal, I apologize for butchering names, from Drexel University found that people who created for as little as 45 minutes reduced their levels of the stress hormone cortisol. Most importantly, the skill of these artists didn't matter. It was the process of creation, not the product or the outcome itself, that lowered their cortisol. Art, whether you are the creator or the consumer, changes you. Magsamen and Ross write that over the last 2 decades, there have been thousands of studies with outcomes illuminating the reasons diverse art practices, both as the maker and the beholder, improve our psychological state. If you read their book, you will be inundated with research looking at poetry, dance, painting, quilt work, memoirs, and more. There is no art form that is exempt, least of all yours. Your art is changing you for the better. We need art to be in our arsenal of well-being and healing tools. Our brain requires it. The creation and consumption of art belongs next to exercise, meditation, diet, sleep. I'm obviously not going to go through too much, but I just want to share how wonderful this freaking book is. Pick yourself, see yourself, recognize your magic before they do. We think that being an artist is about external validation, being chosen, being adored, but I have never met a happy artist who hasn't found a way to value themselves and their own work above what the rest of the world thinks. So many people are waiting for permission. Here are some good indicators that you're waiting for permission. You are waiting to create the big project until you are more experienced. You are waiting to write your book until you have more contacts in the industry. You are waiting to share your book until you can find a publisher. You are waiting until your children are fully grown to begin. I see a lot of creatives who don't believe they deserve to create until their kids are older, that their art is selfish. I'd like to counter that nothing is more generous than to prioritize creativity in front of children, and I'd have to agree. Like, seriously. We need creativity. This world needs the arts. Human, not AI art. That's not art. You are waiting to start a social media page until you are more experienced. You are waiting to call yourself artist until you are displayed at a gallery. You are waiting to call yourself an actor until you have a screen credit or an Oscar. You create only a few times a month because you tell yourself you'll create more once you're better at it or once you're being paid. You're waiting to retire. Another interesting one. Retirement is seen as a socially acceptable time to return to art, or society gives the retired permission to be unproductive again. If you ask me, art is very productive. You tell yourself you'll take your art more seriously when you're finally chosen by a gatekeeper. Artist, stop waiting to be chosen. Choose it yourself. Take up space without permission. You have too much creative power to be begging for someone in a suit to notice you. Creativity is sacred, which she also mentions in this book more than once. Creativity is sacred, and we all have it in us. Consider those who haven't picked themselves, but have achieved lots of traditional creative success. You could see the dire consequences for creatives who have received huge amounts of external validation, but never validated themselves. They've been given permission by the biggest names in their biz, but they're not having a good time. They aren't joyful. They are creatively blocked or stagnant. They don't like themselves or their art. Why the hell did George R.R. Martin just come into my head? I don't know. I haven't even read or watched Game of Thrones. Anyway, they don't like themselves or their art. They feel powerless and exposed to the whims of others. When this happens, you lose power. Your worth is in the hands of others. You constantly need more and more external validation. You think if you could just get the Oscar, the million followers, the next book deal, then you'd feel good about yourself and your art. Then you'd be safe and truly successful. But no matter what you achieve, no matter how many times you were chosen, you never feel like you're enough. Because you're not actually looking for their approval. You're looking for your own approval. But you've been rejecting yourself every single day of your creative life. I hate the way my voice sounds at the moment. Because I can hear that I'm sick. But anyway. This isn't just a me problem. It is a familiar story for many of the creatives I work with. They tell me I want to write 3,000 words a day. I want to write an album in a week. I want to spend 10 hours painting on my day off. Our obsession with big creative goals is one of the major reasons people can't make art. It is perfectionism and self-sabotage dressed up as ambition and enthusiasm. You tell yourself, if I'm going to spend time creating, it better be the most productive time in my life. The hustle of it soothes the narrative that art is a waste of time. If I make it a grind, if I make it into a game of productivity, it makes the fact that it's an art project a little less embarrassing. We are no longer a society interested in good quality work and actual results. We are a society concerned with conspicuous busyness and perceived effort. We are living in a culture that cares more about how hard it looks like you're working than what you're actually making. High quality creative work does not need to come from an endless grind. Forget how hard it looks like you're working. I just want you to make art. Who cares if you spent all of January lounging around, not creating, when for the rest of the year you compose and produce your next EP? Big goals give us huge dopamine hits and feel really good at the moment, but they aren't how we make wonderful art. We create best through small, consistent steps performed regularly. If you look into the routine of most successful creatives, you'll find that hardly any of them devote entire days to creativity. Taking small, consistent steps is the journey to creative mastery. Then there's also the Art Reset Challenge. That is, I did that for 2 weeks. It's very, very simple. I actually kind of went a bit over, but you just take something really small. Like on one hand, I colored for like a few minutes a day, and I realized freaking coloring was just so relaxing. But I also wrote like just a couple hundred words in a short story, and in those 2 weeks, I wrote a short story. And I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do with it exactly, but I had fun making it. A story inspired by the fact that 420 and Easter were the same day this year. It's about 5K, and I had hell of fun making it. Like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with it at the moment. But I did it. Just a couple hundred words a day, 2 weeks. You could do even less than that. It's about like showing you that you could show up for yourself. And that even little steps are worth it. And art is generous to yourself and to others when you share it. It's needed, it's necessary. And make bad art. We need to get rid of this perfectionism, myself included. Bad art is still valuable, and for that matter, how are you ever supposed to make good art if you don't make bad art in the process? It's a skill. You have to practice. Make art joyfully. It's allowed to be easy, and it's allowed to be hard. Either way. Having very high standards doesn't make you work harder or achieve more. It paralyzes you and keeps you small. Still in the perfectionism chapter, you spent years researching your creative projects, but never graduate to creating. The perfectionist story. You need to be an expert on the topic before beginning. You are waiting until your kids are grown because they distract you too much now, or you are waiting until you have a studio to begin painting, or you are waiting for lots of free time until you begin writing. The perfectionist story. You need the perfect environment to create. You've always wanted to play the piano, but you sucked at music in school, and have therefore decided you were not musical enough to start. The perfectionist story. You need to be naturally talented at something to pursue it. I'm not even sure natural talent is a thing. But even if it is, you still have to practice and have it's skill. You practice. Perfectionism is a defense mechanism. These narratives are here to protect you. You don't need protecting from art. Art's the thing that's going to make you and your life sparkle. And hell, even bad art, whatever the hell bad art even means, because it's subjective, is valuable. Artists are not like athletes. We cannot win gold. We cannot beat other creatives. We cannot come first. Sport is objective. Art is subjective. Creating to be the best is a waste of energy. Instead, create to connect to the people who need you, because they are out there. Create in your own way, because there is no right way. Take the pressure off and focus on your own unique brand of magic. You can't discover your treasure trove of weird and wonderful ways when you are trying to be infallible. Discovering your own unique magic requires experimentation. Creative experimentation abhors perfection. Let the mess in. That is just a little bit of what's in here. I freaking Loved this book. It is very inspirational. I have tabs out the butt. So yeah, highly recommend this. Gave this 5 stars. It doesn't matter if you draw, if you paint, if you're a writer, if you're a musician, if you're an artist of some kind, read this book. We need your art. You need your art. Read it. So yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.